Gentlemen and lovely ladies, the lovely ladies that tolerate my channel and are so kind and underrepresented. So please tell your friends. Anyway, going live with you. Good to be re-engaging. And this is a the curious world where three circles collide. Hey, Pharaoh Evans, how are you? Thank you for checking in. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being awesome. Yep, the three circles collide. So, what happened in news today? What happened in news today? Comments about my jacket, please. Some kind words. Plus, my teacher, my master, now mounted behind my head. It's almost levitates over my head. Just lots of uplifting comments. So, what happened today? Theresa May. News. Theresa May. Hey, Francis, it's Mr. Turquoise. Hello, how are you? Turquoise, great color, by the way. Love it. Janice, how are you? Must tell my premium guys I'm live streaming. Quickly jump on. Going to do a live stream and tell them. So, what happened today in Britain? GBPUSD, a little bit of pound, started. Brexit live stream. Get my guys on board. I mustn't ever forget my most important peeps. I was a bit slow on the uptake. What happened today? Well, believe it or not, the master of deception in the Brexit game, who is being controlled by her handlers, is in full speed out of the little townhouse they call Downing Street, is in full speed enacting the wishes of the control structure. The control structure said the people have voted incorrectly. See that it goes nowhere fast. And in fact, try piece together a complete stitch-up deal that is very similar to what you have already, only with less power and more ties you in, so that we can make an example of Britain for voting incorrectly and ensure that anybody else, aka you Italians, you just dare think about going, we'll give you a whipping similar to those Brits. And by the way, you Greeks toiling under absolute, well, austerity second to none, while we take long-term leases on all your islands, land, and any assets and family silver of any value. Yes, the EU. Why? Because we printed up some fake money digits in some computer somewhere and bailed you out of some fake digits that you should have gone bankrupt on and devalued and got back onto the drachma. No. We've kept you as our debt slave because it's useful to own your stuff and to treat you like a whipping boy because we control you. That's why the man with the bike, whose name I say so badly every time, but Yanis is the Christian name, had to be thrown out, and we had to find some stooge we bought off that did exactly our very own will in Greece, so Greece could remain the slave, and so that Italy can know what's coming if it ever dares look up towards its two big bosses, particularly Germany and the rest of the EU plutocracy that is absolutely going out with a baseball bat to punish the British for voting badly. You see, the Irish, they voted incorrectly. Oh dear. They got asked to vote again. You see? Tell me if you've heard this before. You voted incorrectly. Try again. We keep trying until you give us the right answer. Only this time we did a little 2008, 2009 after pumping you with low interest rates to get you hopelessly indebted and creating an Irish property boom, etc., etc. Only this time we've crashed that market now and all your banks are busted. And guess what? The only people who can print euros and conjure up more digits in the computer are us. So try vote again. Otherwise, we don't. Control P, some zeros and binaries. And then you can get your banks back and be bailed out, and you can start a nice little austere recovery yourself. Otherwise, punish, must punish. That is the nature of the game. And so the Irish were asked again. Guess what? Once they answered correctly on the Lisbon Treaty Mark III, Mark IV, packaged up, very much the same, change a few T's, dot a few I's differently, use italics in different places. Once they voted correctly, they never got asked to vote a third time. It was all over. You see, that's how democracy works. Democracy, You really want democracy? That is hell in a handbag, my friend. Democracy is a euphemism for our control structure. It is the way we control it. You see, democracy only works when you do what you're told, not when you vote like you shouldn't. And guess what? Too many Brits didn't buy Project Fear. They were defiant. They said it can't get any worse. We'll defy you and vote exactly as we weren't. So let's just recap how we were and how we positioned on this lovely democracy narrative. Well, it went like this. We predicted Brexit. The bookie said it's 7-1, never going to happen. The Financial Times, all the mainstream media, 100% against it, all bar very few. All the political commentators, the Labour Party, all the major parties largely against it, with one party slightly split. And guess what? It went and happened because the political class needed a blood nose. They created all sorts of nasty PR. It didn't work. So we voted and we predicted that Brexit would happen. And then once it happened, we said, your Brexit will now be hijacked because you didn't vote correctly. What happened? 2 years went by and she did absolutely squat all. Her opening statement was Brexit and means Brexit, and she told you where she was going to stab you. That's right. So she did none of the above. She did none of the above. Stalled. Bureaucrats somewhere in Euroland wrote up a stitch up of a deal, which means you have some sort of different deal to being a normal member, but basically all the same things apply, plus a fallback which ties you in. She blocked legal opinion on it until it was forced. She tried to ramrod the control structure, dark state, banker friends deal on you. You see, when you're bundling up a conglomerate and flushing immigrants in there and forcing wars in Syria, Afghanistan, and then driving mainly sexually active male men instead of women and children that have had their houses flat into the likes predominantly of Sweden and Germany, where the highest negative growth rates are in place, and everybody must mingle and mix up their gene pool except the Khazarian control structure that seems to see themselves as elite. So is the game. So you voted incorrectly. What happens now? Well, interestingly, this is all control structure. This is the reset sniper. This is the circle we call the reset sniper. Then we have the circle, the market sniper. In our community, sitting in our community, we have a little draw on the GBPUSD. Fancy that. The dollar versus the pound. And we have a downside setup structure that we've been watching and monitoring on the charts. What, you say? More pain coming for the pound, we say. This was a week ago. We've been watching it. We got tripped short. Guess what? Today, a major spill in our favor. How lucky we are. The market sniper, the method, everything that you can even think about that transpires fundamentally in the narrative ends up happening technically in your financial market. Short the pound at the appropriate moments, it's going to fall. Dollar suddenly getting huge amount of strength. There's other reasons for that too, but the pound collapses. The pound and the euro, weak as hell. Why? Because, as someone referred to her, in fact, I daren't use that reference. I'll just call her the frog-eyed, deceiving woman, not the chick with the dick that some guy called her. Oops, I've just said it. Damn, I shouldn't have said that. It's so childish. Anyway, that lady who is here to deceive you, here to deny you your Brexit, yes, that very person decided to do what she's been doing all along. That is fritter away time and be a space holder and keep drawing the whole process out. Brexit fatigue is required. Everybody should be sick of Brexit. The word Brexit, everybody, that's part of the game. It's part of inoculating. You are being vaccinated for Brexit. You are being vaccinated to boredom with it so that you don't even care anymore of the outcome. You just want it to end and put away. It's called soil erosion. It's the wind and the sea. They're going the long way round. They are eroding your resistance to the eventual outcome they will take. That is right. And that's her game. Everything she has done has been bent around destroying the possibility of a clean, full, hard break, denying exactly what the people voted for, and creating a choice between the devil and the deep blue sea. Remain. We might just get the door left open and we can remain and be no worse off than we were, or the shittest, most disempowering deal, which has all the worst aspects we were supposed to be getting rid of, entrenched, and you get a crap deal. That is it. But Brexit is not an option. In other words, Brexit's not an option. And what's happening now? There's a new movement, everybody. There's a new movement. Let's get the mic on nice and loud. There's a new movement, everybody. And the new movement is, wait for it, the new movement is the people's vote. The people's vote. Imagine that. But I thought we just had that. 2016, 17.4 million people. The pound is the new shitcoin, says admin. Yep, it looks like that's what they're working towards. With the help of our other honorable, very Brexit concerned, Marcus Antonius Carnius, the right-hand man to Julius Caesar, the chick with a dick in a robe. That's right. The two of them are certainly ensuring that Rome burns for not understanding how they were supposed to vote. It's unbelievable. You see, the amazing thing is, understand control structures, the reset sniper circle in our brand, and you understand. They're never going to let you have your own money. That's why crypto will be co-opted if it isn't already 100% co-opted, or not even since inception. I was one of the first people that said a number of years ago that crypto is potentially control structure money for the new fiat. We all wanted it to be new. We all wanted to have our own money. We all living the dream. We all think we're escaping now, escaping into a new prison playground, with its boundaries, with its fences and everything. And in the exact same parallel, ladies and gentlemen, the exact same parallel for the British people voting badly. All that happens is you get put in a different compound adjacent to the abattoir. You'll still be shimmied in to that door for your little cattle bolt to the head when the time comes. That's it. Control structures will never let you have your freedom. If it's their goal to cluster you together, and to flood immigrants in, and to break down your barriers, and to break down your national identity, and to break down your culture, and to break down your moral structure, so that state has all power, family is broken up, community is broken up, people are strangers in an online prisoner tag application obsessed environment where we no longer know our neighbors, where we no longer eat dinner with our families. The state then rules in the void. And that is the game. That is your technologically driven communistic ideal, that they will cluster these nations together. They will build a death bomb second to none, already done, tick, and you will all go down together. There is no escaping the lead ship. You can't do that. You're a rat if you do. You can't flee. Don't be scared. Come down. Tie yourself to this mast with the rest of us. Yep. Who knows? And what happens? We hear that Britain will be worse off than Euroland for a no deal. In fact, we see women on the Brexit TV on BBC with Alistair Campbell, who should be in The Hague for killing Dr. Kelly indirectly, with Tony Blair, who castrated an already left-leaning BBC for daring to have a journalist suggest that the article for weapons of mass destruction was sexed up, only for it all to prove entirely true. This guy who had his foot on the throat of British media and controlled exactly what message come is standing and sitting in the same BBC studios with a woman who says the deal should be May's deal or remain. And I'm saying, but where's the Brexit option? Isn't that what everybody voted for? Neither of them offer that. You see, they're here to hijack you, deceive you, and lie to you. because that is what your control structures do. They have never been more exposed. How have we correctly called every aspect? Delays. She's not going to resign, by the way. Everyone's going, Theresa May out, she's going to resign. No, she's not. She's got a job to do and she's doing it brilliantly. That's what you don't understand. You think she's there to work for you. Idiot. Wake up. She's there to represent the interests of the people who keep her there. And as long as she's doing that, and she's the lightning rod for all the hate, and the long as she's delaying, and the long as she's kicking that can down the road, as long as she's keeping the plate spinning while we get closer to a global reset so that we can all fall down together and no rats can escape the ship, she's doing her bloody job, and she's doing it bloody well. She's taking all the heat off the dark state, the control structure, and everybody else. Yes, rest in peace, Dr. Kelly, DMC, an absolute scandal, an honest, humble, modest civil servant who dared speak the truth, who died on a common of unbeknownst measures, where the own paramedics who were first on the scene said dark-suited blokes were all hanging around. There wasn't even enough blood even for him possibly to have died from the wounds in his wrists that were clearly added after his death. And to this day, we do not have the truth. The murderers, the cartel freaking murderers. Let me tell you there, right freaking there, murderers. And on that, I support George Galloway, who will be making another film similar to the killing of Tony Blair on the absolutely obscene pill they fed the entire British public on the murder and death of Dr. David Kelly. And to this day, his widow, almost in enforced silence, you may not get your pension, woman. Who knows the extent of the skullduggery of these evil, murderous people? Let me tell you, absolutely rip David Kelly as a public servant. And I cannot find a more loathsome character than Alistair Campbell in all of Britain. Snide, arrogant, condescending, telling the working class British fool, you're going to make it worse. We understand you're frustrated, but you're going to make it worse. No, we bloody well will not. We are spoiling your picnic now, schmuckface. All these guys paid by the Soros Open Foundation on the bandwagon, looking for that cushy MEP job as advisors to corporations in EU land, all living on the fat hog, run by a bloke who is absolutely shit-faced, pissed off his skull and can't be held up to walk in a straight line by freaking lunchtime, mate. All at the same time that you have 1 week out of every flipping month where the entire shit parade gets packed up out of their Tower of Babel, Babylonic architecture, and shipped across to Strasbourg, man, woman, and file box to work for 1 week out of 4 in another country before packing the whole shit parade back into a box of lines of trucks for haulage back to Brussels to appease France, that felt a little bit like a junior partner in this all and wanted to have a little touch of Euroland every now and then, run out of France. And you pay for it. And for those of you that are not in Euroland, believe you me, you are paying for this kind of structure, this kind of cronyism, and hundreds of thousands of lobbyists that work and push laws through. It's like Article 13 that's going to kill the internet for small people on copyright. Only the big corporations can comply. Only the big corporations can afford to hire a department full of lawyers and admin clerks. How do you run a small business and YouTube and utilize other things with the new laws that they're bringing in? Everything is to become part and owned part of the corporatocracy, which will be semi-governmentally backed and owned. Do you know the EU buys corporate debt in companies as part of its QE policy. That is right. That is right. The EU can now buy significantly deemed corporations, not even of a financial nature. We're not talking bank bailouts now. We're talking Volkswagen Group, Mercedes-Benz, debt. They can invest in buying debt in there. They can do QE in corporations. This is where the lines of government and big business blur. This is it, buddies. Yes, preach, says Slavmart. Preach. How am I doing, Slavmart? Is this a preach? Am I on the soapbox yet? Am I standing on the bloody soapbox yet? I ask you now. Britain's population will be punished like a little kid for not making what the authorities expected, said Admin. Yes, indeed. Blair is the devil, one of the Yugoslav bombers. Yes, Comrade Andrej. Blair is Satan incarnate, he says. QE is going to end this week. Time for traders to punish the EU. Yes, so we have the dollar up together. Wikipedia tells me David Kelly's death was confirmed 2010 as a suicide. Wikipedia, nothing is confirmed till Wikipedia denies it, and nothing is a factual lie until Wikipedia confirms it. So there you go. Well run and sourced your information. Your control structure information port of call, Snopes and Wikipedia. Go right there. They have all the conspiracies debunked for you on Snopes. Yes, it's true. It's true. Trust me. It's all been there. It's proven. What can you say? These guys have run out of tricks that we haven't seen. Yes, indeed. So here we go. So we've actually got a pound. We're in a trade. Oh, the snipers. It's in the setups. Some of them are in it. If you wanted to shoot on the GBPUSD, you could be short. You'll be short now. And in fact, we have a target. And I'll tell you where that target is, because it's free love. It's free love evening tonight. Theresa May has postponed the vote, and we should be grateful. We should be grateful that she continues to do exactly what she's paid to do. Cock it up royally, waste time, mess around, try force feed a dull deal, and then wait for it. Last minute clincher deal. A last minute clincher deal. Do not forget this prediction, gents. We've not got one wrong yet on this baby. We're riding a wave. We've got this dragon sussed. We're holding it by the ears. It's breathing fire and it's writhing. But we have grip. We have real grip. It's called truth. It's grabbing that dragon's ears. And it doesn't matter how he bucks and writhes. We know exactly where he's going next, because we know who our masters are. And we know they do not work for us. That is truth in a can. Let me tell you. The end is near for the EU, he says. It's all falling apart. Italy, France. Indeed, it's the end. And we can't let any early rats pull any escape tricks. That is what's happening. And I can tell you, you will be punished and your currency will be punished. That's why we get method inverted HVFs on it. That's why the euro even is sold off today. Will it break its grind line? Who knows? It might have gone up. It might have gone down. It doesn't seem to like the fact that a few people are smelling a bit of a stinky about Mrs. May's deal. Not smelling good. Not voting. Guess what? Rather than lose, we'll postpone for a while. We'll reconsider. Guess what? They've got more tricks. This movie is going to have more twists and turns to buy more time and new information. People aren't going to be able to keep up with it. I tell you what, I'm going to be holding onto this dragon's ears like this, boy. I'm riding this one all the way home into the put locker. Boom, where they come with that amazing last minute steal. With poison claws, but you can't get to read the whole deal yet. Only afterwards. You got to do it now while stocks last. Oh, dearie me. Dearie me. These guys are going to ram this baby home. Never, ever, ever will we get a complete no deal. I've said it and I will repeat it. They will not let you have it. They will not let you have it. Note how no real leadership challenge is being charged. against Theresa May. There's no one who wants it. It's kind of like, here's a poison chalice. Behave like a prick and burn time and do nothing but deception. Well, we've got one mug in the seat already, and it's a woman. She's going to have to ride this one through. Boris Johnson, he's not asking to be Prime Minister. Nigel Farage, not asking. He probably couldn't. I don't see any other Tories standing up for Brexit that say, I want to be. Jacob Rees-Mogg, he's not got his backers. He's not running. Nobody's running. They're all just establishing their credentials and their opinions. But the bitch is going to run the whole way with it. The deception bitch. She's the queen of deception. She's paid and she's doing her job damn bloody well for the people that put her there. And she will have a prime minister's pension for the rest of her life, a copper to guard her front lawn, and her hubby's got his hedge fund and all his big Remain contracts with the EU and is making big, big dough while they plunder the NHS. That is how it's going to go down, girls and lovely gentlemen. Agent 47, oh my God. Any trades on Tesla? Ooh, we're not talking about Tesla right now. We've got our own battery-powered prime minister. She's got a Duracell battery in there, boy, and she's banging that drum, the drum of deception. She's not ending. The end is near. France is looking weak. Cowards, indeed, they are cowards. Fascism is not a byproduct of democracy, but rather vice versa. Well, I'm afraid the democracy we've been sold, the real factual democracy, is a fascism of sorts. Democracy is a much understood. Come to Australia, says Kayfin. I'm not so sure they're that different there, my friend. I'm not so different. US equity market. I want a no deal, Alex Coughlin. You're not going to get it, buddy. You will not get a no deal. I will say almost certainly. 95, you can never be 100% sure, but almost 95% sure you will not get a no deal. In the unlikely, exceptionally unlikely event that they actually allowed a no deal and people still shunted away this new perler of a deal that she'll show up with at the last moment. In the absolutely unlikely event. And by the way, Christmas, New Year is coming. They might catch everyone in Parliament all while they're stuffing themselves on turkey. Watch this little trick, slotting the puck home when all the players are sitting eating oranges at half time. That's the game, mate. We're going into Christmas and New Year. There'll be one man and his dog in Parliament ready with a stamp and to sign his name on that deal. You'll come back in January and the stitch up will be complete. There will not be enough people even for a vote. I'm telling you. No deal. In the unlikely event of no deal, the control structure and the dark state would go out of their way to create shortages, isolate any food or anything, to create such a mayhem that there would be the equivalent of yellow vest riots in Britain for food, etc. They'll try blockade Britain eventually, try avoid it even being able to trade properly. And I suspect as a result, then shoehorn in some sort of emergency, martial law emergency deal that would secure food, which would rely on us having to agree to various things. So in the unlikely event that we got anywhere close to a no deal, I suspect major dramas would be escalated to cause great furore. This has to be shown to be as ugly as possible to put Italy back in the box. That's the thing. Italy let's just put this in context. Greece is slaves and they've given up their rights to freedom. They've had their leaders that are in power. Doesn't matter who they vote in power, they will all be bought off or told their country will be destroyed. They should have gone to the drachma. Greece is only 1/7 of Spain. Spain is 7 times bigger than Greece, and Italy's economy is twice that of Spain's, and in huge trouble. It's the big silent three in there without Britain in the continent, and they are looking at that escape hatch, and there needs to be a big badass lesson for Italy because they are not allowing anybody to escape. So this is Hotel California. Jacob Rees-Mogg copied my clickbait headline on Hotel California with Brexit. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. Yes, sirree. How dare he? He should have credited me, or at least the Eagles. Anyway, Moggy for PM. Yeah, he's standing back. You see, now's not the time. He's not moving. He's not moving. He's going to wait. He's waiting. He's waiting. Sick and tired of the Rothschild veil and your Murdoch cohorts. They want us to bring down the system so they can present Aladdin in the lamp and let us believe we have our three wishes. I think you got it worked out there, pretty much. What else have we got? Monty Python, Beatles still okay. I doubt Deutsche Bank will be allowed to collapse. Its share price keeps dropping, though. I am short the Barclays. Each day she gives me money. Each day she gives me money. I've been short the Barclays for a long, long time. Each day she gives me money. The banks are sliding. Deutsche Bank is almost too low to short and will be bailed out. It's too significant. Even Barclays is too big. It will be bailed out. We've seen this before. We've seen this before. Barclays actually circumnavigated just being bailed out and avoided the slightly more draconian aspects of being government bailed out and went and did a real Saudi sweet Qatar deal, which saw them get a huge lump sum injection. How convenient. How convenient from our Saudi friends, our cohorts with the Israeli Mossad, the Saudis, the Americans, the oil petrodollar cartel, the banker cartel, and they are running your world, peeps. They are running your world, and we can see which currencies are about to spill as and when they finesse the news. And what do? They reward us. They reward us with Theresa May's decision by punishing that pound, selling it short, punishing that euro, selling it short, continuing to introduce and inject uncertainty into those two currencies about the future. And that's the game. And guess what? The dollar gets a bid then. Yay! Dollar gets a bid just when it was looking weak. You can see it coming. Okay, what do you guys got for me? What do you guys got for me? 3 more minutes and then I'll tell you. See the new South African land appropriation law passed. Aye, my good friend. Let me tell you a short snippet on that. And this is control structures and governments. Eskom, the big main provider of electricity, pushing through a huge increase in electricity costs. And outside, 36 ships shipping wholesale anthracite and coal that could be used, exported to China, while they switch off the electricity and load shed on everyone in South Africa. They go without lights and power. The memes are coming out, the dark continent, etc., etc. Toilet rolls to glow green so that people can find the paperwork when they need it in an always dark nation. All this on excessive load shedding. Why? They are preparing you for you need to pay more. Energy is taxation. Learn this from me now. How many times you've heard me talk about the Rothschild tax with oil? Energy full stop are how governments extract a new taxation. Energy could be free. Yes, I'm not an idealist. The amount of area that we'd have to solar panel up in the Sahara to provide, you'd have to build a bit of a network and a grid to go with it. There's no hiding that. But to provide once established power for the entire world will shock you with how small it is. That real estate you can have for fractions of a cent per square kilometer. It is dune and desert, my friend. And we could, with current levels of solar power, power the world, industry and home. Energy is taxation. It is control. It is the petrodollar. We are exporting in South Africa an obscene amount daily, 36 hours of loading a ship, and there's 60 of them off Muscle Bay, not Muscle, St. Richards Bay, up top there, shipping coal out to China while they turn everyone off in South Africa. Why? Because they need you to eat, the increase they're going to stuff you with after the elite have emptied the wealth of Eskom as a previous exporter of electricity to sub-Saharan Africa, now no longer to keep the lights on in residential homes and mines that are giving people employment on. That government has emptied out the vault and is making its citizens pay for it, and it is white to black redistribution, only it's not going to the black working class, it's going to the black government class, and it is a tax. It is a tax because if you want your fridge to run, you either buy an expensive diesel generator to pick up all the downtime, like a prepper, or you pay your 20-30% increase, whatever it is, in electricity, and it's huge, and they've come repeatedly, like regularly, continually, and there is no infrastructure investment, and every project that has been approved could have been done for 1/10 of the cost because they are absolutely stuffing you on all the procurement deals and the backhanders to an African level. My beloved South Africa burns under the greediest control structure that will destroy it double time. That is the facts on that one. Are islands Varadkar and Kovny Bilderberg? That is a question I know very little about. Varadkar and Kovny, are they Bilderberg? They may well be. Are you afraid to criticize Israel? No, I criticize Israel a great deal. I think the world will be run from Jerusalem soon. The Talpiot program, the connections between Silicon Valley and the Talpiot program, and Israel's access to patents and IP, straight out of Silicon Valley, straight out of controlling your car from a laptop, unless it's pre-2000, pulling you off the road, turning the engine off, shutting the windows, driving it into a wall. All part of them, all coming straight out of that. Have you read The Tales of an Economic Hitman? Yes, indeed. The economic hitman is alive and well and working hard right now, working hard to indebt every global nation in dollar terms, so that when the dollar spikes, everybody else will be over indebted and cannot afford to pay, and the whole picnic gets turned upside down. Synchronized global collapse through indebtedness to nations in a dollar-based way. So the first thing that will happen in reset is the dollar will climb. Yes, you heard it. Not because it's a great currency, because it's engineered that way. Everyone will run. Everyone will run. NASDAQ SE, schmuck, he says. Far right. Maybe. I'll move a little to the left. Oh dear. Would talk about strategy on real estate. Real estate. What's going to happen to make the dollar run and to make interest rates rise? I fear for real estate. You need to be flushed out. The Goyim will be turned from the land. The Goyim must be turned from the land. Be aware. That's probably far right, only it comes from the Talmud. So it's not me saying that. It's me telling you what somebody else said from a book. Okay. Don't mind Bitcoin. Electricity tax kills you. Yep. The miners are being bankrupted. They've been shaken out. They're being shaken out, guys. CO2 global warming is a hoax. Yes, the carbon aspect of it certainly is. We do have some effect, but there's much bigger forces at play. There's global cycles of temperature. In fact, we're in a cooling cycle. The facts are not supported. The control structures narrative is not supported at all. Did you notice, if you ever have any doubt, that the political beings that are have to embrace the agenda, the BBC agenda of, the beautiful documentaries and our likable old friend who loves the animals and says there's too many of us on the planet. Yes. And then you get Cameron, hug a husky out in the snow. Go and hug a husky out in the snow before you can run and be prime minister and collect a prime minister pension after a handful of years of doing not much. Yes, indeed. What else can you say? Al Gore, documentary, funded documentary. This is a guy with a Mac mansion with more rooms and bedrooms than he knows what to do with. He could sleep in a different bed every night of the month. And he is preaching you about your carbon footprint, my friend. You should behave. You should behave. Martin Armstrong says so too. First of all, dollar, then you buy gold. That's it. So it's going to be a whiplashy time. But first, the dollar will spike, the interest rates will spike, the fear will chase into the biggest currency. Maybe we'll get a bit of a crypto bump, but maybe they'll first deflate crypto, and then it's all fall down for the surrounding nations. All fall down. Is market reversing? I think you would be referring to the US indices market. I am undecided yet. We await a right shoulder. We will see. It is low and it is hanging an HVF funnel, which is formed on the left upside, which is part of our method after a head. So there is a possibility of a head and shoulders. However, shorting indices is dangerous. Be very, very careful. Be very, very careful. Do you think privacy crypto tokens have a future? I wish that they do. I fear the knives are sharpened for them. I think the control structure is deep into crypto land now. Deep into crypto land. Backed all of these hypothecation. Note how Max Kaiser ran with that yesterday. It's like they're watching our channel. He's right, but he's a bit late, but he's right, and I'm glad he's bringing it to his attention. Backed is rehypothecation. Oh, we are a trusted counterparty, and we will hold all your cryptos so that you can lend against it. We will keep it safe. So no matter where you are in the world, you can refer to it. Think of it as a gold bullion bank, for example. That worked well. Democrats caused the housing market crash by forcing banks to write loans to unapproved minorities. I don't see it through the prism of Democrats and Republicans. By definition, I'm small government. So I suppose that would make me more right than left. So maybe that other guy's right about being right. Maybe I'm far right. The smaller government, one guy, one guy in charge. That's a dictatorship. That's small though. But anyway, yeah, but I don't think of it in Republican and Democrat. Both benefit out of the events. They are banker supported. All banks pay to both sides. So you can see that it is a funding experiment. Clinton is funded by Goldman Sachs. Bush was funded by Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs funds everybody, pays 500,000 for Clinton to speak. I promise to be ever so much more entertaining than Hillary Clinton. Do you think they'll pay me half a bar to come and chat? What do you think? I'll wear a clown suit. I'll do anything. I'll tell better jokes than she could ever do. I'll look less plastic and I won't go every second and half throw a fit. I'll do it all. I'll do it all. I'll be better. I'll be more entertaining. Do you think they'll pay me half a bar? No, sir, they won't. No, sir, they won't. That is how you pass a bribe on, my friend. Speaking fee. What do they bribe me for? Bribe me to keep taking the mick out of them? No, sir, they won't. No, sir, they won't. That is how they do it. Oh, you're killing me. Those guys, man, that is Hillary. I'll pay half a bar for you to speak. Kyle says, I appreciate you, Kyle. I'll find a bank that'll underwrite you and loan you the money. Maybe we can make it 5. I'll share half with you. We can do a big bang, backhander. That's the way the game rolls, buddy. Oh, man. There's nothing local about local news. Do you believe in the protocols of Zion? I'll tell you what Voltaire says. Those that you may not criticize and that which you may not read, for therein lies your master. Not me. I'm not far right. I'm just quoting a guy with a Frenchy sounding name. You decide. I'm not here to tell you what to think. That's what Voltaire said. Any comments on Iran financial situation? You've got me there, Ali. I'm not too up on Iran's financial situation, apart from knowing that they're under heavy sanctions. They're battling. They're getting their, let's not make a mistake about it. The oh-so-green Democrats under Obama and equally the Republicans under Trump that gave fracking licenses away and continued to give banks a free hand to continue to fund a destructive non-profit organization and industry that destroys the green economic artesian wells and destroys carbon footprint to create American short-term independence in oil, to therefore get the Saudis to pump ever more oil, to cause a glut in oil, to maintain lower prices than should probably naturally be the case right now, is there to squeeze the already profitable Russians and the Iranians. Remember, the Greater Israel project is all of the Tigris and the Euphrates, my friend. Iran and Persia are in the goddamn way. That's right. And they don't have a central bank. They do not have an approved central bank. They need some democracy exported to them. They have yet to see the wisdom of what a beautiful place this world is under our existing control structure. They are somehow resisting this. I sense democracy is about to be exported. But first, a bit of financial warfare. The warfare starts with hackers on their nuclear power. Who was behind that? Answer that question. Yes, sir. Car accident for me, he says. Well, there are political people and there are innocent people of all ethnicities. Be careful about over projecting on all. I have some amazing clients. I have amazing family neighbors, Israeli. They can be good people, just like anybody can be good people. But there is a political force that embraces not just that faith. There's a political force that embraced Bush, Blair, Campbell. These are not people of a religion. In fact, they are vile. They are vile too. So we got to be careful with whom we block. There's many good people. There are many good people that go under certain faiths. So we've got to be careful, guys. Careful with your comments. Remember, meet a good, honest man, and then you're wrong. You can't say all of anything, all of anybody. The yen will squint. The dollar will open its eyes. Says undone sums. The yen will squint. We are living in Orwell's 1984, my brothers. That's what a rational person would say. Glad you are not one of those fake red-pilled people. Quote, squeezy, squeezy Japanesey. Yes, I love that. I love that. Can you get IP on something like that? Copyright, little C, with a little bald-headed bloke like me with bluey red eyes. I don't think you have spoken much about psychology of trading. Yes, we do. We do it in our premium, and we do it in our pre-recorded stuff. And it's not something you skim over the top of. It is something that is conceptually deep and requires time, requires effort. It requires a little bit of experience, even so that you can recognize and get a deeper, lower level of understanding to your trading. So you have a deeper lower of understanding. You have to have experienced and got it wrong. Anyone to the right of Karl Marx is far right. I think you might be right. Yeah, we must keep the comments exactly. Criticism of Israel policy is not criticism of a religion. Absolutely important that. We have amazing people. I have amazing friends, and there are good representation of all religions in them all. We're talking about political control power structures, and we can't burn all people on this. So it's important we make that distinction very, very carefully. And there's no space for witch hunts. We create an uneasy environment for good people, and politically evil people, of which are many faiths, get away with it. The heat needs to go up, not down, not on your brother and your neighbor who goes to a different place of worship to you. The heat needs to go up to the control structures. It's time there were some adverse feedback events for control structures that seek to suppress. They need to have some feedback that is not encouraging of their current agenda. That is a view that I have. Are you bullish USD Q1 2019? So quick look at GBPUSD. Well, I can certainly say I would be on dollar instead of pound into Q1 2019, and I expect 120 to end us to trade into the 121s on GBPUSD. My premium guys will know the pattern and the references and where it might stall, and where actually if we get a rally we could get back short again if they miss the trade. So we are certainly not in the pound. If we look at the euro, we're not that excited about the euro either. We see an attack on an Eastern European nation, gentlemen. We see an attack on an Eastern European, a small Eastern European nation that has not complied with the agenda. We see Soros sharpening his knife, and we see a banker dark state attack on an emerging Eastern European nation. You can go do your research on that. That is something we would see going into the new year. We see that currency suffering greatly against all majors, including euro and pound. So you can do your research on that. What else have you got for me? Funny, the media talks about Khashoggi murder, but forgets Michael Hastings and Gary Webb. Gary Webb, the man that unveiled the CIA's role in drug smuggling. Yes, that's right, dark state. And that would take you right the way back to Bush and the Clintons, Arkansas, out the south there, the airport there, the oil companies, the drug running, Bush's role in the CIA really early, roundabout, seen in Dallas in the Kennedy assassination, but can't remember where he was when everyone else of that age seems to know exactly where they were. Gary Webb exposed them. Bush, who also paid Iran money to keep the hostages a while longer to win an election that saw Carter lose and George Bush come into power. And everyone who's ever referenced that fact fall over dead. Very interesting, the Bush family. So sad to see him go. So sad to see him go. What do you see concluding from the Yellow Jackets movement? My understanding of what I've heard is that as opposed to being particularly immigrant based, that it's sort of working class French, I suppose you say white, Gallic movement. I'm not sure how much support it has in the immigrant community. So I don't know if it's race based or whether it's just a push against the control structure generally, against tax and cost of living. They have exceedingly high taxes in France, ridiculous. So I'm a little bit unsure on the divisions of who is behind it and who's the avatar representative. I've got this the sniff of an inkling that it's not specifically immigrants against the system, or it's more what one might say is indigenous French Gallic working class. Are you bullish Bitcoin and XRP 2019? It's difficult to say. We'd need to see the charts in 2019. What we would look to do is we would look at the charts. At the moment, we are square to bear. So that means rallies, don't trust them. Be squared predominantly because the opportunity is for some pushback. Big volume was recorded at the bottoms of Ethereum and BTC. So that can sometimes point to more sustained rallies to come. It means a lot of people just couldn't take anymore and got out, and some buyers have been getting in. So big volume. So we might have a pause or some support for a bit there, but overall the charts look poor, and I could see another short-term little spill. Could France's revolts, I almost said my revolts, have been created by control structures as per Arab Spring? Macron is an owned banker boy and has, by all accounts, done exactly what his owned banker boy status should see him do. So this one seems more predominantly authentic, but I must warn that Trojan parasitic tendencies occur. So even if it is an authentic revolt, you can expect agents to quickly try penetrate and find out who the organizers are, etc., etc. So they'll try identify the leadership and the arrangers, and they have all the device-based security monitoring and surveillance tools to do that. So those guys need to play clever. Will Hashgraph replace blockchain? Some people have said so, but it remains to be seen. Hashgraph is owned, and that's not a good model, because people then think we're coming and paying you, and playing on your lawn, and you can change the rules. The attraction of blockchain was that it was this decentralized. It was the Linux of operating systems. As opposed to Microsoft Windows, where they can hijack your computer for 89 updates that take half an hour, just as you've arrived 5 minutes before you have to do your presentation, to 37 people all waiting. That kind of thing, if you know what I mean. Will we get a look at Tesla? I'll have a look at Tesla at some point. But I don't intend to give, I can't give chart-based commentary generally too often. We'll do a few YouTubes every now and then, but we analyze inside our community the charts, and that's where I must dedicate the bulk of my time. I have to respect those people that are paying for it, and I want to serve them, and we have an objective for them in terms of their wealth building and our own. And they're aligned, and we want to see everyone succeed into 2019, as I do you too, but others are a higher priority for that. But we'll see what happens in Tesla. We'll see what happens, and I might throw out a view at some point, maybe on Twitter if you're following. Next bull, mid 2019. I think you would be referring to crypto, Johnny. Crypto, it's too soon to say. It's too soon to say. The thing with crypto is cycles come around fast. It is dog years, so it might be possible. It could even be slightly sooner. We'll see. I'm watching the volume. Watch your volume, overall volume, and watch the charts and watch the patterns. That's where the gifts are, guys. Charts, patterns, and real indicators like volume. It's primary data volume. So send us Sunset Sailor. Thanks for your inquiry. Just send an email to support@themarketsniper. We've got a lovely group. We're enjoying it. Hello, Mr. Hunt, DL. How are you? Johnny OC. Yes, Bitcoin charts. So let's have a quick look at Bitcoin and just give everyone a view. My full-time, nasty chart, grinding down, couple of spikes and then coming off again. This is churn, and it's not strong. It's not strong. When you get a sudden impulsive spike, it can kill you if you're a shorter, but it doesn't hang on to it for very long, and then it grinds back down. So it's looking inherently weak. I found Ethereum particularly looking inherently weak. It's just setting up nasty structure, but rising wedges and continuation down. So I think there'll be scope for little additional shorts, but I think the big money was made on the big move. You've got to be careful on your sizing, and you've got to also respect that we are in a progress decay period after a big pattern has performed. So you can suddenly get that bull spike as well. So it's a little bit more tricky. It's not going to be all your own way. But I do think if you can short Ethereum somewhere into the triple digits, it's not a bad area. Rehydrate. No, we start right at the beginning. Sunset Sailor, right at the beginning, right with the candlestick chart. So actually normally loom every day. The looms were a bit cranky today, so I was doing chart images and voice messages. We commune, and not just myself. Our advanced traders, my team, will be chatting in the premium community and sharing setups and giving guidance on existing setups, and the community themselves will be responding. And we have a lot of great guys that are advancing their learning and the doing and the implementing. So it's a matrix. You'll be supported generally across the board, which is nice, I think. Any future stock broker futures or stock brokers you can recommend. So here's something on futures and stock brokers. This is the research sniper talking. These are the questions you should ask of any potential broker that you are contemplating engaging. Counterparty risk is going to be higher than ever before. You remember MF Global, the ex-Goldman Sachs guy? Yeah. Do you remember him running MF Global? And he used to be trading like a gambler from his PDA in the middle of meetings when he was in Goldman Sachs, set up MF Global, and then blew up the whole thing, and then never went to jail somehow. What's his name again? One of you guys will remind me of him. MF Global guy, ex-Goldman Sachs, thief personified, usual story. He was able to plunder people's accounts. So one of the key things with counterparty is you've got to check counterparty risk. So what you want to do is, if you're looking at a broker, ask who the banker is, and ask out if funds are kept segregated from the broker. In other words, that money is held in a designated bank, not just in a big pool with all clients, but segregated by account, and that the access to it is only on the mark-to-market netting off of your P&L, that they don't have your money under their control that they can dip in. So segregated accounts is what you want in terms of the deposit element. Nice to see you, Couch Gaming. Monroe slept with Castro and Kennedy and got murdered by the CIA. Yeah, I didn't know about the Castro bit. There's lots I didn't know. John Corzine was the name. Thank you, Brian. Brian Wilson, thank you. You're spot on, mate. Couldn't get the name to stick. Corzine was the name. Ex-Goldman Sachs. Absolute cowboy. Absolute cowboy. And a thief. And of course, a certified banker thief, which means the do not go to jail card is right here. You just flash it and you do not go to jail. It does what it says on the tin. It's quite awesome to get issued one of those. You can do whatever you like. But like, yeah. Oh, do I know anything about Mr. Alexander Reams? I've been looking forward to contacting him. How can I contact him? I have no idea who Mr. Alexander Reams is. It's a peculiar request. Alana, Michelle? Maybe you're talking to someone who's called Alexander Reams on the purpose. How can I contact him? DAX thoughts. So DAX made target, and we have bigger downside expectations. Check out Hedge Eye. Yeah, we've seen him. Wish your trading course was more affordable. Some of us want your knowledge but can't afford it. Yeah, there's a self-study. Come for a non-farm visit. Just come to the crypto finds and a non-farm, and you'll see a little bit of what we're looking at and how we analyze. See if it's for you. Try before you buy. That's all good. I think that's it, guys. Good talking to you. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for joining. We started with a pound and Theresa May, the control structures nominated wench in charge. And she does just as bad as the men do, I'm afraid. When it's a control structure in charge, they do what they're paid to do. People genderize politics. They genderize various things. They say, if more of this, if more of that. The control structure decides. Until you realize it's control structure driven, you'll be divided and conquered. It's us against them. It's a dark state control structure which has both women and men on its team, and we are being controlled as both women, men, and in the same way as whites, blacks, French, Jews, Christians, Muslims, and we must embrace those that are on our team regardless of any of those aspects. We must be careful about generalizations, and we must attack those that clearly identify themselves. Anything Blair is for, anything Alistair Campbell is for, is absolutely categorically control structure driven, banker control structure driven. That is who they are. And that's why they get onto the BBC, which is a media mouthpiece, to make sure that their controlled little lieutenants, their junior middle management mouthpieces, gab on about what you should be thinking and doing and telling you how it all is. And they should be exactly masonically inverted in everything they do and say. You should be doing the opposite of them. It's almost a cardinal rule. If you're confused, just say, what does Tony Blair say? Go find out and make sure you oppose every aspect of it. And then you'll have the truth. You'll be getting very close to the truth. That is it. That is definitely the inverse law. And, you know, Tony Blair is a Catholic. Made a big deal about flipping from, I don't know, Anglican or something. So be careful with the face. Please suggest a book for the week. A book for the week. We were talking about Gary Webb. I owe you guys a bookcase. Gary Webb, Dark Alliance. This man is deceased. Gary Webb, Dark Alliance. Quite thick. Looks something like that. Your book for the week. He will expose you if you think for a minute that your intelligence services are not murderers. If you think for a minute that they are actually there to keep you safe and not enrich and forward their own corporate objectives as a corporation for which you are someone in the way, if you even expose the lightest thing. This man died. That was him. And he should be a hero. And when the Truth and Reconciliation Committee eventually arrives, and all the mainstream media hoods, the Nuremberg trials, the Truth and Rec Committee finally arrives, we want the names of the people involved and the actors in this man's assassination. And we want, rather than statues to presidents and politicians, one to him. Go read The Dark Alliance, Gary Webb, the CIA, the Contras, and the crack cocaine explosion, especially if you're African American and you want to know how you get subordinated and how you get to live in drug dens, but it affects everyone. That's your book for the week. Dark Alliance, Gary Webb. Good one, guys. I'm gonna sign off. Hope you enjoyed it. It was a bit of fun. I got outed for being far right, certainly far to the far right of Karl Marx. Yeah, let's play nice with the generalizations and be smart. Otherwise, you know, you just get categorized as a wrong kind of hater. And other than that, thanks for your good conduct and your good spirits, for coming on and liking, and I appreciate you. And we'll speak again soon. All the best to you.